about to make a 1.5" threading die holder for the, you can use this on probably several different things, but it will work good on the lathe. I can use a wrench to get this started, but first I put this piece in like this, and you put this on in the lathe. Actually not in the lathe, but you start it on a piece with a wrench. Once it's started, you can pull this there, and then you can put a 1.5" socket on here and drive it. You can go back and forth and stuff to do your threading. But we'll try this out sometime here in the near future, and I'll show you how it works. But this is how to do it. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm out in my shop Saturday morning and decided to made a drawing and decided to make a die holder for my lathe that I can use in there. You could use it probably in a vise or something also, but this is going to be one, and I'll show you the plans here in just a second and bring you down here. That's going to be start out with a piece of 2-inch chrome rod, and then I'll be doing a bunch of milling and some lathe work and stuff on that. It'll have a 1-inch hole through the center, and I can run it with a 1.5" socket or 1.5" wrench. Then I'm going to make a plate for the back to run a center into, but that's removable, so you can thread a long piece of rod without setting over again or anything. So I'll get you down here and we'll look at it real closely and explain a little bit what I'm going to do. All right, here's my drawing I made. It's nothing real professional, but it's turned out pretty good. This is the piece I'm going to start with. It's a 2-inch chrome rod. I'm going to finish up roughly about 4 1/8. It just doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I've got 4 1/4 right now, so I'll turn both ends, face both ends off a little ways. So anyway, on this end, we're going to mill, let's see, a 1/2 inch deep, 1.5" groove in here. So it'll fit the 1.5" die will. Then I'm going to put a couple of set screws in there, 5/16, to lock the die in place. And then this end, I'm going to mill, turn this down to 1.732 here, this dimension here. And then I'll mill 6 flats on that at it was about 116 thousandths per flat. We'll make a 1.5" hex. Of course, the center is going to be bored out to 1 inch, and then I'll do some threading on here. But that's about it, and then I can put this in the lathe. I'm going to make a piece just like this to go in, let's see, this end, just temporary, push it in there and run a center in there to get some pressure on that, so when I start threading, that it'll push in a little bit, and I can put a spring center in my lathe tailstock chuck and push a little pressure on that and start the threading. But it's just, I don't know, it's just something simple to make. It's a project. I'd like to make it and get it on YouTube and stuff for a video that I made. Hopefully it turns out good, and we'll get everything done here and show you as we go along the way. All right, we're set up in the lathe here. I'm going to face this down, I don't know, maybe 1/16 or something like that, maybe less. I'm using a C&MG 432 insert in here. I'm not sure exactly what that one was, but we'll get her started here, face this off, and then we're going to turn it down to my 1.732, 3/4 of an inch back on this side. We'll get started here. I'm running, 1250 at about 6 thousandths per feed rate. Got a nice bird nest going there, didn't we? Got a little tip there, but that's no problem. This will be okay. I got to bore this out to inch anyway. Now we're going to set up and get my, pause this here for a second. I'm going to get my my micrometer here. That'll go, let's see, up to 2 inch. And we'll turn this back 3/4 of an inch here. And then we will stop there and take it over to the mill and put the 6 flats on it before I go any further with this part of the production here. All right, we're set up here now. I'm going to take off 0.268 off the OD here, just under 3/4 of an inch in, probably about 0.740, and then we'll take it over in the mill and do our flats on it. There's a 50 thousandths. Looks like 50 is doing pretty good. All right, I have my DRO set, supposedly to take off the amount there. It was 0.268, but I was getting close and I measured it, and I only need to take off, and it was showing like 40 thousandths yet. Well, something got screwed up in here on my calculations. I did a mic on this, and I only need to take off. I'll take off about 6 thousandths or so. Is all I need to do. I made a mistake on my measurements there when I measured that. I need that finished size to be 1.732, and I wound up 1.632. So I got to take off about 30 thousandths here. We're going to do a 20 and then try a 10 and see where we come out at. All right, I'm going to do a quick measure with my mic again. Make sure that it's where I want to be. That was 20. Let's see here. Yep, let's see, 10 would put me at 1.730. So I'm going to take off 8, speed this up a little bit and see what my measurement comes out there. Try 8 here. All right, let's see what this does here now. Nice finish now. Had a nice finish till it chip got stuck on the tool there. Okay, we'll check this now. It should be pretty close. Got to remember to start reading that mic a little more accurate than I have been. All right, 7.1. Here's what we got now. I'm only a few tenths off. I'm at 1.7318. So 1.732 is right there. It's only, what, 2 tenths off? So that should work now. All right, we'll take this out of here. I'll chamfer this edge right here, this little bit here, and then leave this go because I'm going to mill this and then bring it back here and put it in here. Okay. All right, I'm set up here now. I've got my jack I made. This is similar to a planer jack, or planer gauge, excuse me. Anyways, I'll help hold this up a little bit. I'm going to touch off here and come over just to touch this shoulder here, and then we're going to try the setting at, it's supposed to be 116,000, so I'm going to go to 115 and do 2 sides and then check it, see if I've got my 1.5 inches or real close to it. Come come down here a little bit closer. Okay, we got to get this cranked up. I think I need to move in just a little bit. Right about there is close enough to center. All right, there we go. Just touching off now. Now I'm going to come over and touch that shoulder on my x-axis. But I don't know, I may have to stay back a little bit here. Let's try a cut right about there, lock the X down. Now I'm going to come up, zero out my X. I'm going to come up 115 instead of my 116. There's my 115. Let's see if I can do a cut all at once real slow here. Let me slow that down a little bit. Right about 800 here. I like to make it one cut, because this old machine, once you get it set, you're better off not to keep moving it around too much. I'm going to have to do this differently. That piece of junk, I don't know what it is. I have to find out where I got that from. It does not want to go around 24 segments and come back to zero. You know, I mean, so it's flat. I don't know what's going on with that thing. But I'm going to do it manually here now. I got her set. Up against my flat here. Now we're going to take another one and take a measurement of that and see if we're okay on that. All right, I'm going to finish this off camera here, get rid of the squealing noise and stuff. I'm going to have to do this manually with the angle gauge. And this just, I don't know, I have to figure it out and maybe get a hold of this company or wherever I got this indexer from and see what's going on. It's just, I don't know, it's just not right. So I'm going to do this off camera so you don't have to watch this and listen to this noise on this thing, see if I can get my 1.5" hex on here. We'll get back to you after a bit. This one, I got to figure out what's wrong with that indexer. It just doesn't bring me back to zero. It's off by several degrees. Anyway, I did this manually in the mill using a 30-60 triangle and milled the other ones and took, you know, instead of trying to take the full amount, I split it in half. And at first I was doing climb milling, so I switched over to conventional and didn't get hardly any chatter on it when I did these. But here's the socket fit. Fits nice on there. Little teeny bit of play just so it goes on and off real nice. I got to put this in lathe and I'll clean this up some more. And chamfer the edges, go in here a little bit with a parting blade and clean that up and do little round edges on the hex, and I'll have that done. So next thing will be back to the lathe. Okay, I found out what was wrong with this setup here. Down in here I had 1/4" set screws. I've got 3 of them around this shoulder piece here that hooks to the back plate, and they were 1/4" brass tip set screws, and they wouldn't hold good when you scrolled through your settings and did the setting like this, and the chuck would spin loose a little bit on me all the time. That's where I was getting off on it. Every time you did that, it would loosen that chuck up a little bit from stop, you know, real quick stop with this weight of this chuck and stuff. So I got some regular, I'll try these, just regular socket head cap screws, and tighten those down. It seems like it's holding now. So that was my main problem, I believe. I think I've got that solved now. So we'll when we use this again, we make sure that when we put the chuck back on, we use these bolts and tighten them down good and tight so that chuck can't move on the thread. All right, we're back over at the lathe now. We're going to finish this up on this die holder. First of all, I'm going to round these sharp edges off in the lathe and bring it back to this shoulder, and then get the outside edges smoothed out. Then I'm going to cut this a little shorter, then come back here and come back here and drill and machine that piece back in there for the die. I can cut it off, make it shorter. Take a little bit more than that off there. Let's see what that looks like. Probably need a little bit more off there on those edges. Not bad. I'm sure wondering why those lines are in there. Yeah, I didn't hit there. Rest of it's pretty good. That's that low spot, that one I didn't hit in. We'll take a little bit more off than that. Well, slower way down here on the feed rate to, let me see here, we'll be at 6.5 thousandths. Probably about enough. Need to cut the shoulder back here a little bit. Okay, we'll finish. We're going to get this edge trimmed up and then come in here with my cutoff tool and bring the shoulder nice and square here. All right, let's see if we can clean this edge up here. Let's see if I got enough there. It looks pretty good. No, not quite. I need to get a little bit more up there to round the whole thing. Almost. Actually, that's probably good enough. I'm almost right to this edge, but the edges are nice and round. Corners here. I think I'm just going to leave that like that, and I'm going to get my parting tool in here and clean that shoulder up. slow this down a little bit here. Finish that up, it's a little too fast. I'm starting to get there. I got to take a little bit more off of that. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good enough there. Socket will fit good on that shoulder. All right, I forgot, we've got to chamfer this edge off here, and then this piece will be done. I'll cut it in the hacksaw and shorten it up, and then we'll drill and bore this thing out to 1 inch. All right, I'm going to do a 1.5 inch diameter here, a counter bore, 1/2 inch deep, and then we've got to drill and tap it for 2 set screws to hold the 1.5 inch die in place. So first of all, we'll go ahead and face this off good, chamfer it, and then we're going to drill it and bore it for 1 inch roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a relief hole. All right, that looks good enough for now. Okay, next we're going to do is chamfer that edge. All right, now I've got to get the tailstock set up for a drill chuck and center drill that to start with. All right, we're going to center drill this and then bore it all the way through with about I think this is about a 1/2 inch bit there, and then drill it out to 63/64, and then I'll ream it to 1 inch. All right, now I'll change that bit over to that 1/2 inch. Let me get my oil here. We'll put a little bit on here to get started. I'm going to try it at that 600 rev here. Let me just double check that, give you exact. It's 654. I'm going to slow that down just a little bit. I don't like running high speed on bits. Probably try it at 494. That's drilling real nice. There we go. Should have finished it before that. Okay, now we're gonna set over to my other bit and bore the rest of it out to 63/64, and then go ahead and ream it to 1 inch. Now on this 63/64, I'm going to slow it way down and take my time boring that out. Let's see, we'll try a 256 to start with and see how that does. If not, I'll go one more down. I don't like running these big bits very high RPM at all. You just burn them up. Yeah, I'm going to drop her down to 179. Get a little more oil in here with the oil can. Of course. Same as last time, only need to go a little bit further. Okay. All right, now we're going to clean this up a little bit here, chamfer that, and run the ream through there. All right, this is all chamfered up, and I've got the ream set in here ready to ream it, so we'll just run this ream through. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just it's just a clearance hole for something bigger you might want to put in there, and then we'll do our counterbore here. I don't think it's taking much out. Whoa. Bun on me. Just coming through too. Okay. See if we can get this out of here, all right? I thought I tapped in there, probably didn't tap it in enough. All right, I made it through there. It must have been a little bit of a burr hanging up on the end. I tapped that MT3 ER40 to 7/8 holder for this ream. Tapped it in a little bit with a mallet, rubber mallet, and that's worked to finish it up there. So now we're gonna have to counterbore this next. Okay, I've got this set up now. I did a couple tests and stuff on it. I've got to take about 415 thousandths roughly. I'll do some measurements when I get close to that to make sure I don't overshoot the 1.5 inches. So we'll get started here. I'm going to do a measurement here, make sure I don't want to overshoot that. Oh, I better get my pliers for those. Kind of sharp. There, blow that out a little bit. Got my Starrett telescoping gauge here. Fit, yep. See where we're at. All right, this one says 1.384. I'll do another check on that. Do a calculation and see where we're at. At 1.384. Got two good measurements. Okay, let's do a calculation here now. Now I'm going to set this over again on the DRO. We'll zero out the X. And my measurement that I need to take off more was, let's see, 116 thousandths yet. We'll check it when we get close to that. I'll probably stop at about 110 and give her a check. What I meant on that's where I'm going to stop is probably around 10 thousandths. I guess I better get that piece out of there before it wraps up on something else. There. Let me see, I don't remember if I took some off here. Let's see. All right, that's 10 thousandths. Let's see where we're at on our measurement now. I don't want to overshoot this. Hopefully I'm okay here. Yep. And get those pulled out of there. All right, let's see here. I'm going to pull this back a little bit further. Well, I'm awful close here. Need just a little bit. Let's try 5,000, see how it fits. I'll speed this up to 900 here on this cut here. Another 5 or so. Must have been right. I think I squeezed that telescoping gauge in a little bit when I checked it with my mic. Go to 10 here, which it should have been roughly. Well, that's really close now. I want to have a little clearance. Well, actually, that's pretty nice. That was a good fit right there. So I was right on the first measurement. I said 10 thousandths. That's why I took off here, and it fits good. See, it's just in there a little bit.
I don't even need to go in there and set that up on the shoulder, finish it. It's good enough. Okay, we'll pause here. The next thing I've got to do is take it over to the mill and drill and tap 2 set screws in here to lock this die in place. All right, I forgot I got to chamfer this edge off here a little bit. All right, now we can go over to the mill. All right.